This podcast is brought to you by HOR Chartered Accountants. HOR Chartered Accountants are based in Galway City and are a leading provider of audit, accountancy and taxation services. For more information, visit horcharteredaccountants.ie.
Hi everyone, and you're very welcome to this week's episode of the Maroon and White Pod.
You nearly forgot the name of it.
I did nearly forget it, my friend. Martina Harkin here with with my good old buddy. How are you?
I am great. It's been a while.
It's been months.
Yeah, it has been. But sure, listen, we've been up to our eyes between schools camogie, colleges camogie. But what have you been up to? In terms of
that's a very good question, Aoife. I suppose life has been busy, yourself with schools and getting kids ready for exams and things like that. But I suppose from a club's perspective, just getting the young ones back in training, seeing what the year ahead takes us. Of course, for my sins, I'm involved with nursery, under 10s, 11s, minors, juniors. I've even gone bands, started back playing a little bit, but look at like yourself. But look at it's been busy, and I suppose that's really the run of it too. And I suppose between going to games and watching games and checking the form and things like that, here we are, first
busy again.
Busy. And yourself?
Well, literally haven't stopped no more than that since I spoke to you last. And the last time I done a pod was with Hopper. That was months
Christmas
ago. Christmas. So we were chatting all things Sarsfields, and now I suppose that we've talked about the league final. We have to talk about Ashbourne and our own very special ATUs. And schools as well. First years, we were lucky enough with the first years.
You were indeed, and the minors is happening at the moment, and the final should be happening in the next couple of weeks. And not to forget your Super Nines.
Super Nines was yesterday. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, a great day for it.
It was the best,
the best camogie players
from all around the country. It was lovely to see it, and we met our friends from Mahara as well, and they make such a big journey out of it. They come down the night before, and it was absolutely fantastic.
The Northern teams have always done in the past anyhow. But look,
and Loretto Kilkenny won that, and Laurel Hill won the Shield. So I just want to say well done to them, and thanks for everyone that got involved with our Super Nights yesterday, and to Colin Manon as well, and everyone that's involved in it. So delighted now to be
very excited this week. A big return, and to have two men on the pod talking all things camogie. That's a good thing. I'll let you introduce our first guest.
Well, a former Galway hurler. He has been nominated for All Stars in 5, 10 and 12. Mm-hmm. He's an author of his own book, MVP, Unlock Your Potential. Open it up. Raise your game. And to be honest with you, that's been a brilliant, valuable tool for us in school. Tony O'Regan has come to our school on numerous occasions talking to our girls.
I know that you got me a copy.
I did. This is my signed one, but your one is waiting for you. But no, we're absolutely delighted to have him on tonight. And tonight he's going to be talking about a special event that is going to happen in his club. I'm not going to even go into it. I'm going to let him speak about it in total. Yeah. But look, he's a performance psychology coach and has done a massive amount of work with lots of All-Ireland winning teams. So delighted to have him on tonight. And I'm really in admiration of all you've done, Tony, with the book and with your psychology and with your sports psychology as well. So tell us what you're going to talk about tonight.
Thanks a million for having me on and for the lovely introduction. I suppose what I want to talk about tonight is a great event we have coming on the end of May, the 30th of May, where for all of us, the GAA community is really, really important for us. And, we've been fortunate enough the last couple of years to have a GAA for all program in our clubs for families and children with additional needs. And we struck up a great relationship with Galway Autism Partnership in our area. And the last 2 years we had the Maroon and White Swim. This year we're going with a new concept called Hurling Camogie Le Cheile. And Galway GA and Pearse Stadium are very kind to give us the venue on Friday the 30th of May. And we're going to have a really exciting, fun evening there for family and players and supporters and mentors. And the evening will be full of a blitz and music for the GA for All Go Blitz, the first ever, I'd imagine, between clubs. So we'll be reaching out to clubs in the next week to give them invitations around that. We'll be then having a really exciting game between the Galway Camogie Legends and the Galway Camogie Masters. And then
you're going to have to differentiate now big time between the two.
There's a serious difference between a legend and a master.
Huge. Explain yourself.
It has to come with terms and conditions.
and if you haven't broke a few fingers or lost a tooth or
an eye, but I'm sure you'll send that out to the clubs as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last game of the evening then will be the men's hurling match between the Galway Legends and the Galway Masters. And we're fortunate in our own club that Ben Mangan and his management team are from Rahoon, Newcastle. So they've been managing
Brilliant.
their second year with the Galway Masters. So they're training very hard for this match. And
Oh, jeez.
Very
The
competitive.
Legends better get back training quick.
want to get the Galway Legends out quick for a couple of training sessions and get them ready for this. But the big thing on the evening is to raise as much funds for Galway Autism Partnership and Jigsaw, who have done huge
Fantastic
amount
work.
of work in all our communities around youth mental health, and it's important that we continue to support them to fund their programs both in the schools, in the community, and the clubs, and making sure that our young people are really well supported in terms of their well-being and their mental health challenges. So, I think it'll be a great night, great occasion, and we're all really looking forward to it. And if you want to meet some current and former stars on the night and get talking to them and get autographs and all that, to be ample opportunity throughout the evening, and we'll have a great atmosphere and great fun. Drumadore are going to be playing some brilliant music pre-match, during the game, and after the match, and we've DJ
Brilliant.
Flaco as well, and we've lots of surprises and a raffle on the night as well. So we'll be
Brilliant.
sending out all the links
Yeah.
in due time in terms of GoFundMe pages and the ticket link and all that. So we'll be really looking for all the
crowd.
clubs to get behind it within the county and make it a really unique occasion. I know the GA are doing a lot for integration within our community and within our association, so we could maybe be the standard bearers of it in terms of the county at the moment, and getting this unique event up and running at the end of the month. I
Savage.
think would set a lovely precedent in terms of that too.
And Tony, it's
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
not just for your club, so it's open to all clubs. Obviously, you'll have your two teams, like you'll have your Legends and your Masters in
Masters.
both the Camogie and the Hurling. Like that'll bring it an awful lot of fun and crack as well. But you
Yeah.
also have the younger kids. So like you mentioned there, inclusive, and isn't that what GA is all about? So it'd be
Massively,
great.
like when you
Yeah.
think of all the players that be involved, from the GA for All Blitz to the Camogie and hurling matches, we're all from different parts and pockets of the county. So I'd love to see as many families and kids and supporters from those different clubs and pockets of the county coming in and just meeting up with former stars and sharing stories and just having a really fun family evening in a great environment. So there'll be food and refreshments there and everything for people to access. So it should be a great evening, and we're hoping to put a special area in the stand as well for children with additional needs, that they'll be able to get the quiet time they need, maybe from the energy and the excitement that'll be there at different times too.
And listen, can I ask, where did this idea come from, Tony? Was it just something that you had thought about for a while, or was it something maybe that someone mentioned to you, or would you have been interested in doing something like this? Because
Yeah, I
it's a
think
massive undertaking.
we've been fortunate the last 2 years, as I said, to have the maroon and white swim, and have a great support from that and great people in our club putting the committee together. So this year we just felt it needed something different, and thankfully the committee came up with the idea that we would have this type of event and have it in Pearse Stadium. And the committee have been brilliant in coming up with that concept, and thankfully Galway GA giving us the Pearse Stadium as well. And it's just got great momentum to start off with. So that's where it's kind of come from, Martina. And obviously we've a really strong association with Galway Autism Partnership within our club and with Jigsaw, and they were the two kind of charities we really wanted to partner with on this to make it as success as possible for them, and making sure that we're having as big impact in our communities and society as possible.
Yeah, because I suppose in today's world, and in GA in particular, Tony, you do see the amount of kids in particular who are presenting with additional needs, and it's very difficult in any particular club who might be new to coaching, in particular those young kids who want to start out, and you want to include them, but you also want to provide them with the necessary support systems in place. Because I just know it for myself. I've had a few parents, not necessarily in my own club, but just come up to me and say, do I know of any place where their son or daughter could go because of their son or daughter having additional needs? Now, I know Connacht and Beacon every year they do an all-inclusive coaching day where they do invite parents and their sons or daughters with additional needs. But at the same time, something like this could be the spark to something that continues annually, and it
In
could be
other
a
clubs
wonderful
as well.
event, and exactly, and in other clubs as well. So it's a fantastic endeavour, and I'm sure it will be fantastic if we get the weather. Plenty of refreshments afterwards.
Plenty of refreshments, Jordan, I'd say.
And defibrillators in every corner of the pitch.
The oil light could be on for a few. I know
So,
it is brilliant though, Tony, and the big thing about it is the money that's been raised. It's like there's no barriers to anything, and I like like the whole idea of calling it Hurling and Camogie Le Cheile. It's lovely that it's really joined, and the integration thing is happening in 2027, whether people like it or not. And the amount of work that Jigsaw is doing there, Justin and Jigsaw as well. We've you know, great partnership up in Gart Community School as well. You know, we've done stuff, and they're working tirelessly. And I suppose, you know, happy mind, happy body, or happy body, happy mind as well. So it all works in collaboration with both, you know, with hurling, camogie, and all sports. You know, so fair play to you. We will 1,000,000% be there on the night we're talking about.
We'll think about it. And
our rates have just gone up.
For clubs now, Tony, that might be listening to us tonight that want to get involved, how do they go about it, or do you send out information to all clubs?
Our secretary will be sending a letter this week to all the clubs to give them more information, and if people would like to get involved in terms of whether it's fundraising, or there might be past players that like to get involved in playing themselves, or they want to enter a team into the GA for all Blitz as well, you know, that'll be all in the detail as well as you know, access to the raffle draw and prizes and stuff like that as well. So you know, be expecting a letter this week off our secretary in the club to inform people around it, and yeah, it'll be great to see as many from around the county on the night, and you know, making a really great Galway event.
Fantastic. And is there any particular age limit we'd say to the?
No, you're all right.
No, not to the Masters and the Legends. I was suggesting to Aoife that the Legends, it has to be over 43, I think. Well, once you're a legend, you're 40 plus, Tony. I was asked there a couple of weeks ago, Aoife's still playing, I was asked, would I join a Masters soccer team? And I said, what's the age limit? Over 43. I said, sorted, no problem whatsoever. It was a walk in soccer, so we'll say nothing. But we'll say the younger ones, is there an age limit, or is it from under 10s, 11s, or what is it?
For the GA for all, Martina?
Yeah.
You know, generally I would find that in our club that it's anything in the region of, you know, 6 up to 12 or 13, 14 age. So listen, we'll be able to manage that with age appropriate challenge, obviously, that you do in terms of that. And yeah, we've great support from, you know, our own coaches in the club around that, and Galway Autism Partnership. So, you know, everything will be catered there for, in terms of making a really safe space for those children that would be, you know, on the spectrum in terms of sensory needs, etc. So yeah, that will all be considered, and we'll be putting you know, our due diligence into that.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds fantastic, and definitely we'll be there. We might. Well,
no, we will. We will
be there. We'll
Don't worry,
talk.
Tony.
Yeah,
we'll promote the life out of it for you, because, like, it's a brilliant thing to do, and it's not just for your club; it's for everyone. And Killian Whelan has just joined us there, so Killian might promote it up his side as well, and
hopefully
get this going nationally. So fair play, and thanks a million.
Yeah, thanks a million for joining us. Really appreciate it.
We'll have you on again, though.
Look, hopefully we will have you on again, and we can talk more things camogie. And will you say hello to your dad? I remember your dad, Horse, as I used to call him when I was training with UCG. So will you please send on my regards to your dad and man, Tony, and thanks a million, and keep doing what you're doing. Fantastic. You're a wonderful ambassador. And when Aoife does decide to bring me the book down from Gart Community School, I'll definitely open it and read a few pages. Thanks a million.
Tony, she's to work a little bit harder now for the book. Books aren't handed out that easy.
Well, they always say class is permanent, Tony, isn't that what they say? So I don't mind waiting anyhow.
You can wait. No, listen, we'll get you on again, Tony, to maybe chat a little bit through the psychology of it and how important it is for camogie players. And we'll wait maybe a few weeks until the championship starts. But I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that. But
yeah, and it might be an approach that we would like, that you might come on again and maybe we look at the whole idea of psychology, or revolve around psychology, but because it's getting so much, it's popular, it's something that needs to be talked about. We've a lot of dropouts, and why is it happening? So with your permission, we definitely will invite you on again.
Yeah, no, we'd be delighted to come on with you and explore some of those topics and have a bit of fun while we're doing it.
Absolutely. Thanks a million, and best of luck, and we'll see you at the end of May.
For sure.
Cheers.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks a million, Tony.
Bye. Well, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
like the Legends, before we chat to Killian, I remember when we played in the Legends show, it was fantastic.
Oh, it
We
was,
got
yeah.
to meet the girls that we tore strips of.
But there was a lot of torn
There was
hamstrings.
a lot of torn hamstrings. This was even in the warm-up, but we'll say nothing. Anyhow, without further ado, Killian,
how are you?
you're back again for your sins.
Hi, good evening to you, ladies. How are you doing?
How you doing, Killian?
suppose
Lovely.
How do I follow that man though? That
Quite
you just had
easily.
on.
We'll give you all
Don't
details
worry.
after. We'll be putting it on the link as well. But
Exactly.
I don't know how much you heard of it, like that we were talking.
I heard it all, but like Tony is a legend in his own right. You know, I have to get that book actually. So I feel completely out of place being in here after him. But yeah, good to be back. Good to be back with G.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Did you miss us?
Oh, absolutely. It hasn't been the same. You went
Like a
fierce
Tuesday.
quieter
Well,
altogether.
As I say to Aoife, we don't get to see you, but we get to hear you.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
for those of you who are unfamiliar with Killian, he's the voice of camogie.ie and YouTube, and you give a fantastic commentary every time. Yeah, and Kildare FM, every time that you're on the camogie.ie YouTube channel. Fantastic commentary. I've listened to you, and I've also, I suppose, been at games.
Marion, it's all right. I sent the €50. It's okay. You don't have to say a whole lot
That's what
more.
I said. Sure, listen, stop. I said
That's already spent, Killian. Okay, I can do another.
them headphones won't fit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hold
our
on there
rates have
now.
gone up. You know that. So listen.
I suppose we'd start. Killian, you had a bird's eye view, obviously, of the league final. Where did it all go so right for Cork, and where do you think it went so wrong for Galway?
Well, I suppose a bird's eye view. I wasn't there, but I was watching at home before I headed off actually to Portugal for a few days. But
sure, look, someone has to
look at absolutely. But listen, people aren't going to like me maybe saying this, but I can't see Cork being stopped. I just think that they're now a little bit ahead, and the only thing I maybe mentioned it on another podcast this time last year or whatever, that I can't see them being stopped unless Cork do something to themselves. I just can't see it, and my concern would be is that I feel Galway have maybe gone back a notch. I think Tipperary as well are suffering with a little bit of confidence, and Dennis has decided to flip things there a little bit, and I'm not sure everything is bedded in. Now, maybe I'll be wrong and proven wrong and badly proven wrong probably in a couple of weeks, and I'd love to be. But this Cork team are a phenomenal machine. That's what I would call them, and I have been saying that about them all along. But you've also got to see now that Cork have started to spread the wealth as such, in that they're not just relying on. They did without Amy O'Connor for practically all the league,
absolutely. Laura Hayes in the league final.
Laura Hayes in the league final, Laura Tracy was missing for a bit.
And the footballers, they had a league final.
Yeah, they had the league final as well, and trying to integrate them, and marry that, but they did it fairly successfully. But Saoirse McCarthy to me is the standout player of the year so far. She has.
We said about her last year. Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
She's your go-to. She's your go-to forward now.
But Marion, I even mean that Saoirse has talent. I've seen Saoirse since she was probably minor thereabouts. You knew she just had this kind of rapport and ability to be a senior intercounty camogie player. But she's just gone to a different level, I think, this year. It maybe people talk about the league. It's only the league, but I just think I've seen her, across the colleges, and then obviously progressing into the league. I'm looking forward to seeing her now with the championship, what that will bring. But people have got to be worried. This Cork team now are starting to knit back together. Amy O'Connor is back in, Laura is back in. It's like if you're thinking about,
they're getting.
Yeah, and that has to be a little bit of a concern for the others.
But I feel that definitely in the league final, it was starting off. You always feel that Galway can't have gone back that much. I think just things haven't gone right for them in terms of injuries, positions, and it just came together at the wrongest time for them. The league final, but. Are they gone back that much, do you think? Or are Cork I think they were so physically fit. Like Cork are complete athletes, and they're known for their athleticism and the passing through the lines. But they're playing with such freedom and confidence now that, like you said, can they be stopped? But
that's what I mean. That the Galway of old, I felt had that. I think there's a little bit of a confidence issue with the Galway crew. I'm not sure they're entirely settled. I don't think. things in the background maybe might, Cathal might want to talk about it, but it has to be having an impact somewhat. Like, to me, if Galway want to win All Ireland, they need their best players on the field. And no disrespect, they're not all there, and we know that. So I don't want to, rattle the cages here now or anything. But if you
Don't
want
worry,
to
Killian. Don't worry. Myself and Hopper did that.
But honest to God, I think if you want to win All Ireland, you have to have your best players on the field. And if your best players from your All Ireland champions are not on the field, well, I don't know. You mean to tell me that there's 4 or 5 better players in Galway then that deserve to be on the team? I'm no question that that Galway team, there's girls on that team fully deserve to be there, but I do think you need everybody if you're going to topple this Cork team. And that's maybe a situation that Kilkenny are finding out now a little bit. Players have moved on. You need to be stepping up, and they're now finding that's hard. Tip have flipped the board. A little bit of unrest there, I think, among some of the senior players that maybe were disposed of, and has that seeped through a little bit into the team. Dennis Kelly would maybe say no, there's plenty of talent there, but I think it may just have stuttered their growth a little bit. So Cathal is entitled to manage what way he sees fit. I just think that if you're going to win All Ireland, you're going to beat this Cork team, you need everybody there.
You need your best, yeah.
But on the other side, I suppose he can only play what he has available.
Absolutely,
and obviously, some of these girls, the girls that are out there, are not making themselves available either. So look, we don't know what's going on. I would just like to see them have a good shot at this championship. I think they went in the group stages winning well against Cork, but remembering also Cork were only playing second gear. Do you know what I mean? And I think psychologically that might have helped Galway thinking we're going into a league final. We've after beating them well a couple of weeks previous, but like Cork were so ready for them. They, like, I think at one stage,
didn't need to win. I think
within 5-6 minutes of the game, it was 5 points to 1, and they just made it look so easy. Galway were at 6s and 7s. You mentioned it. Very, very. They're finding it very difficult to find players for specific positions. And look at Cathal, I'm sure, is trying out girls in different positions. He can only work with the panel he has. And like, throw in the under-23 championship at this moment, Killian. Something that I have a serious grievance with is this under-23. I see it more as a development, but I also see it as, I'm looking at fixtures there. Galway are out in first round of the championship, the 24th of May, it's senior. Galway under-23s are out the same day.
Yeah.
And we don't. Number one, have we a management? Myself and Aoife were talking about it. Aoife beside me has had the experience of being involved or going for an interview for the under-23 management. And while she wasn't successful, she's crying. She's not well after it. But it hasn't been announced who our under-23 manager is. We're presuming it will be Cahill's, because a lot of those girls that will be involved in the under-23 are part of that panel. But on the 24th of May, when Galway are playing the first round of the senior championship against Dublin, Galway under-23s are playing against Tipperary. Who's going where and what team is going to turn up, considering that Cahill has to pick a panel?
Well, look, I suppose you had the same problem with the Inter anyway, because the second team, they would have played on the same day 9 times out of 10, I think, anyway. However, I do agree with you. I think this under-23 is a joke. Under-21 is probably where it needs to be.
It needs to be.
You're going. How many of those girls, if you were to take the Galway team and go down through them, how many of them would be under-23 anyway that are on that senior team? And they won't be able to play in it.
Won't be able to play, and that's 6-7 of our panel.
No, it's only if you play. If you play a minute of senior championship, and I think there's about 18
but they don't
girls.
even get an opportunity for the first game. Galway playing senior championship.
Yeah, the Galway,
But like you have a panel there of probably 30 or 40 girls, would say, in the senior panel. Like, I suppose you're going to have to try and make your panel, because under 23 really it's development now. And if you haven't made the county seniors at 23, you've probably dropped out at 18, 19. Like, if you haven't made it, and what about the girls that just mightn't have been up to scratch at 18? They're not making it. They've given it up. Do you know? Yeah. Look, there's merit, but I think it's going to be revisited. From what I heard, it's going to be revisited. I think there's been a bit of pressure even already that it might be dropped back. So look, I can't make a call that it will, but I do find it a bit unusual that it's on the same weekends or the same days of it a little bit, and that's going to, like, who's it going
who's it going to benefit again? You know, that's like, you know, what's the, like, if we're looking at this as a development competition, you are also looking at it giving an opportunity for people to maybe lay a claim to, but they won't be able to lay a claim to a senior jersey obviously this year then, or will they? Will that be allowed maybe after the group stages or whatever? I don't know.
I don't know either. And
so,
like Galway haven't even played a game yet in under 23 championship. Their first game is the 24th of May, whereas in Munster
they haven't even started training.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's been none. So like it's grand for the under 23 girls that are in the kind of in the senior panel that are on the fringes. Obviously the 23s, under 23s that are a few starters and whatnots and very fringe players. But there's plenty there that should play under 23 and get their game time in.
Yeah, well, if you look, to be honest, so I think if you're Galway, Cork, the Kilkennys, the Tips, you've had these people eyed out already. You know, you might not have had management, but you have it eyed out, and sure, like, the end of the day, it's probably going to be a selector from the senior team or something is going to be ultimately managing them. You know, that's whether you agree with that or not, but that's probably what is going to happen. I think though it needs to be revisited. I just think there's an opportunity there to have a look at it if it's going to continue that way.
What do we do? Like most things, we try it. If it doesn't work, we go again. Listen,
yeah, but like Marion, my concern would always be, I don't understand why in the Camogie Association they have to reinvent the wheel a little bit. You know, like, we're looking at integration going forward or whatever. What's the harm in looking at what the hurling community does or whatever and run the competitions the same way? I just don't.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Just don't get it.
21 would be better because, like I said, from minor they're 18. Like,
you're
5 or 6 years there, they're gone.
Yeah, you're trying to keep young girls playing. So it's a vulnerable age for dropout between 18 and 21.
Absolutely. And 18 to 23 is a lot. So like by 23 you're in on the senior panel. There's very rare now that would be someone still hanging around Galway. Absolutely. Unless you went off travelling or something like that or whatever.
Or you just have no interest.
It needs
18 and 21. Yeah, definitely.
It needs to be looked at.
And come here to me, looking ahead to championship. What's your predictions, Killian, based on what games you've seen? I know.
No messing now.
So we're going with top 4 at the moment.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Here, sure, look, it's easy enough.
Well, it's easy enough, pick. As you said, you can't see at this moment in time, neither can I.
Can't see anyone beating Cork.
I can't see anyone beating them. No. I could see maybe a few contenders, but the way they're playing, and they're playing with such confidence and such tenacity, and as you said, they're reinventing the wheel, like the likes of Aisling, all of them. It's better she's getting with age.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, there may be a thing, I don't know this either, Marion, but there would be a few elder stateswomen in that crew that might be, you know, looking to make history 3 in a row. You know, like, there's obviously a fair buzz around Cork. They'll be looking at the hurlers, maybe potential win All-Ireland. They'd love to probably put the two together. That might see a few of them then exit stage left, you know, and whatever. So,
you know, maybe,
as I said, I'm not putting in the retirement slip in their pigeonhole now here, but like, you know, there would be, I'm sure then, if you were to achieve that, there might be 1 or 2 that might then. So I think there's a push on here to achieve that.
Yeah.
But Aisling Thompson, I think she's playing better now than maybe she did even 7-8 years ago. You know, like,
absolutely.
It's absolutely.
She was like 100%. She's an athlete, but there was nobody stopping her.
Yeah, she had the freedom to play in the league final. She's had the freedom to play in all the group games with Cork. No one has really, you know, come up against her as such. Do you know what I mean?
We have been a bit unsettled as well with positions, so it's very hard to go.
Cahill has been trying out different girls in different positions.
Yeah, but there's nobody that I've seen across the board now that has been able to live with her. And like, Aisling doesn't even have to have gotten involved in, how would I put it, physical encounters or whatever, because she's just been
up. She mops up.
She's playing I suppose, taking the matter from another sport. Like, she's playing the quarterback role. She's just directing scenario, and that's probably allowed Saoirse a bit of freedom then, you know, and she's making hay now. So until somebody works that out, I just can't see it. Look, Galway will be in the mix. There's no doubt. Tip will be in the mix, and then, you know, you be thinking Galway, or sorry, Kilkenny.
Waterford
are doing well.
Yeah.
You know, was there a bit of a grievance there with the Waterford and Tip game? Was there a goal given that shouldn't have been given? And
yeah, well, just looking at that, and I saw a sideline video from it. I don't know who posted it, and to me, it looked like Karen Kennedy's shot hit the back of the net,
Yeah.
and I'd say that just the tension in the net or whatever, it bounced back out.
Bounce
The
back,
umpires
yeah.
didn't see it, and the goal wasn't given. So that was the little bit of tension, all right, in that Munster game. But I was probably happy that Waterford gave Tip a game, because we know all the fallout that has happened there, management wise and whatever. I just find it a bit unusual that practically all the management that were there already have gone back in,
Gone, yeah.
except the main man, Jerry himself. So it's been an unusual one. I like Waterford. You know, they to me are going to have to, as far as I'd be concerned, for the group of girls that they have to be making a semi-final. That has to be their target.
Yeah.
Because the whole country's going to be saying, "Oh, come on here, girls! Like all the managers can't be wrong." You know, the fourth change of management in 4 years.
Yeah,
You know
Yeah, they have to try and prove themselves now.
Yeah,
management
and I
over management.
don't blame that group. I don't, you know, to in lots of ways, but I just find some of the moves that maybe Waterford Camogie have made when it comes to management have been a little bit unusual over the
Yeah.
last while, and it's probably taken from those on the field. Now, that doesn't mean to tell me that things weren't right. I'm not saying that. And look, if things aren't right, you got to make the changes. But to me, Beck Carton didn't look happy this year. I saw her in the first game against Cork down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. You know, just didn't look like the Beck Carton that we know that she can be and dominate and so forth. So, you know, maybe they'll rectify it. Again, you know, one or two of them, you know, coming to a certain point in their career as well,
Yes.
that again,
Yeah.
they're going to have to make a decision here. We've got to make a cut at this and see what can be achieved. But will we see any other dark horses?
Dublin?
No, unless something. Now, I do believe that there's been a huge flip there. You know, Mickey McCullough's gone, and all of a sudden, there's a number of players have made themselves back available to the Dublin panel. So
Okay.
that could, you know, if they can get their house in order, like it could be a tricky enough game now for Galway. You know,
Exactly,
if they
because I
take it for
watched-
granted, you know.
Yeah, I went to Kilbacon, I watched that game, Galway and Dublin, and for 70% of the game, Dublin had given Galway a serious game, and obviously Galway just pulled away at the end. But given that, I can't see, but as you said, if the management, if there's a little bit of a grievance there and there's a few girls back, well, you never know. It's amazing. A few tweaks can bring a team on and leaps and bounds.
Exactly. A few tweaks, like, and you know, Galway start off with Dublin, and then they have Derry, and you can never take on and you're traveling to Derry.
You're
I'm saying
traveling
I don't think Derry are going to beat Galway, but they're tricky enough little games to get started,
and
then you have to go and face Cork, isn't it, in round 3? Like it's
or is
just
it Kilkenny?
I'm trying to look at my fixtures here. I was just trying to call them up.
Killian.
Okay, well, like even at that, I can't even see round 3 there. I can see round 4. All right, it's down there. So obviously Galway have a bye in round 3, so they're away to Kilkenny. Like 2 away fixtures, tricky enough. Kilkenny, you know, buoyed now by maybe that minor success. I wonder, will they see many of those minors progress up to the senior team?
Indeed, a serious win.
You know,
Jesus, yeah, they're a serious win.
Yeah, but like, they are again in a team in a little bit of change, and you know, it'd be interesting to see what Tommy Shefflin has done with them in the last number of weeks since the league and so forth. But look, they'll always be thereabouts, and on any given day, you could expect them that they would upset a Cork or upset a Galway. You know, you just don't know with them. So look, it's still
anyone's game.
Oh, absolutely.
Galway went back late too. Like, we're kind of, you know, we're chasing it a little bit too. Like, so a couple of more weeks might help settle Galway. You know.
Well, like again, I don't know. We're not in there. You know, exactly. We don't know the full ins and outs of what might be going on, and there could be girls, you know, injury wise and settling back into things, and you know, colleges and people going away and all that kind of thing.
Absolutely, that's
Carl
right.
trying to find his best side, and you never know. Something might have clicked now in the last couple of weeks that said we'll only be aware of when they take on Dublin. But you know, like, I suppose if he has to work with what he has, I still think if they're going to win All Ireland, they need their best players on the field. I'm not sure they have all of those, but there you go. Like, he has to work. He has to work with what he has. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But look, Galway will still be in the mix, Marion. Just as I said, on any given day, then you just never know what might happen for them.
And I suppose a big weekend as well, Killian, before we let you go, with the Galway minors, both in the A and the B, under 16s.
Under 16s, yeah.
And again, Cork winning the All-Ireland minor, back in an under-16 A final as well. You know, things are looking good for Cork at the moment. But Galway have done very well in this particular championship. You know, they've won every single game.
They've actually
in the
beaten Cork.
groups. They've beaten Cork, but again, that's not to say, you know, but I'd like to see Galway. We need some kind of a win underage.
We haven't won. We've been in three. This will be our third under-16 final,
and to lose by a point or 2 points.
Yeah. So it'll be.
But some of their, I'm just looking at down the fixtures now. Darren Kelly is on commentary on the games from Nolan Park are being streamed. So Daz is on commentary for those, and I'm sure he'll bring home his usual self, the quality of commentary to that. So the best of luck with Daz on them. But I've been impressed by Galway's results. I wouldn't have seen them obviously. So just based on some of the results that they've pulled out of the bag, you know,
scores,
you know, going to Kilkenny and coming away with a 2-point victory, you know, then taking on Tipperary and Duggan Park, good win there, obviously, and then obviously in the semi-final they met them again, you know, and that was a 2 healthy wins against Tipperary. So I wouldn't.
I don't write this Galway team off at all, and I think they've come at a good time.
There's still a few from last year.
They've blooded new players, and they have the experience of the girls who already played in an All-Ireland final last year, unlucky to go down to Limerick by a point. So I'm just hoping. I'd love to see them get this one.
We need it.
We need it to going forward to have, I suppose, good foundation there for.
Can I ask you that question? Like, you know, just with the fact that when you consider that Galway seniors have been there or thereabouts over the last, let's say, 7-8 years, isn't it a bit surprising that maybe a minor title hasn't been annexed in that time? That we're now looking down the road a bit, that Galway probably need a shot in the arm here a little bit at underage to ensure that those players are going to start emerging in 5-6 years' time and be challenging for senior All-Irelands again, because there's a bit of a lull starting to crop in here. You tell me better, but would it not be a little bit of a concern?
Well, the minors would say there's a few girls there that have fed and have gone straight in directly into senior, the likes of Ciara Hickey, maybe Ali Hesnan. I'm trying to think of a few more off the top of my head, and they've molded lovely into senior players, but sometimes that doesn't happen, and we haven't won a minor title in a good while. We find it easy enough. Well, I won't say easy enough because that's kind of unfair, but we do get to minor finals and under 16 finals fairly regular. But we're just not. We're not cutting
it over the line. Yeah,
we're not getting it over the line,
and we seem to be winning the group games, and then we get to play the same team or a team we bet, and we just can't. Like last year, we went down to Nolan Park and under 16 final, 3 minutes to go. No offense, but I'm not one to give out about referees. The referee completely did us out of it. He pulled
here.
He did. No, let's call a spade a spade. The commentary, the comments afterwards.
It was poor now.
A blatant, obvious free out. He gave the free into Limerick. She threw it over the bar. Limerick win by a point. No, nothing. No love lost, but fair play to Limerick. But it was the same the previous year. But it was great. It was great TV, and it made great viewing. But at the same time, as you said, Killian, where are we falling short? It's not that we don't have the calibre of players. I just don't know.
We do have the calibre of players.
Yeah,
that's
we
the problem.
Definitely have.
That's been the question that I would have, in that you have a very healthy schools competition. Schools that participate, and if they're not winning All Irelands, they're definitely
reaching All Ireland.
You're reaching All Ireland finals.
Yeah.
You would have a healthy University of Galway. And obviously Galway players in other universities
don't forget
that are achieving. Well, I was getting there. You jumped the gun. Jumped the gun. And
I agree with you.
As I said, you'd be surprised then that maybe there hasn't been more victory than at underage representing the county.
And it isn't for the one to try.
No, I'd imagine, absolutely, it's not.
And it isn't for the one to managements and systems. I just don't know, and I won't say have the answers. Myself and Aoife were very lucky. We were in with the under 16s. It was an all-female management. We were all players. We all had the experience, and we still couldn't get them over the line. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that we had a magic formula. So people can blame managements and they blame systems, but sometimes it's all of what happens on the day. And, the preparation was done. It was all about the performance, and things got to us. Limerick just came out and we were just lucky. But look at, as you said there, the minor championship, we'd won an awful lot of minor games this year, group games, and next thing, we were absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, and that was very disappointing, and disappointing for the management as well, because they had put
'Cause
in
they
a
had
massive
put in an
shift.
awful
You know?
lot. Yeah, they put in a massive shift. Yeah.
So we are at a bit of a lull at the minute, but listen, hopefully on Sunday, obviously in Nolan, or no, Saturday
Nolan
Nolan
Park,
Park,
yeah.
and then
Saturday in Nolan
Sunday,
Park, yeah.
yeah, and
Might get
Sunday
over the
in
line.
is it Fermoy? I've written down Fermoy for the, you know, the B development squad, the under 16. So look at that's against Cork as well. So look at
And
Cork.
look, I don't know what you think, but I think with development teams, like, you know, we're expected to bring in 30, 40 girls into academies or developments, and no offense, but an awful lot of them are bench warmers. They're sitting, they're very happy to get a jersey. It doesn't worry them whether they're playing or not, but I think it's very difficult on managements. I think there's an awful lot of pressure put in managements by county boards to have these 30, 40 girls in, where the reality, Killian, is 30 of a panel, or 34 we say is the magic number, 2 15s and 4 for subs. You know, it's very difficult for a management to be trying to manage and micromanage 34 girls when you're preparing for championship. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, Marion, yeah, but look, I this maybe not for this pod, but I would have an issue around development squads and what opening that gives, or expectation that gives to the child, but also maybe the parents.
Yes.
And while I know we have to have academy, I don't know. I would be fond of, and I know some counties have done this, they don't give the development squads the colour of the county jersey, you know, they give them maybe a different shade or something different, because I don't know, that, like as you said there's a few that turn up then and sure, I've got my Galway colours and I'm happy and I've
but
made
they
it
might
and
have a
I've
different
achieved
colour
it.
scarf. They'd have their club scarf, and it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, I know it doesn't, but
No.
I do think that I'm not sure development squads should be given a county jersey. You know, I'm not sure the
There
message
has to be a
it
bit of
sends out.
pride to wear the
Yeah,
jersey.
there has to. You have to. Like, I don't care. Maybe I'm
In
old stock
fairness.
now. We're all of a similar vintage here. I think the three of us
Yeah.
anyway. But
I'm way younger than this.
But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and as you said, this probably isn't the time for.
It's the want, Marion. I just
again.
want, I see it here locally as well. Like, you know, you're dealing, guys think they're great going around telling you that, you know, I made this squad and I made that squad, but you never hear them in 3 or 4 years time.
That's
And
it.
why is that, like, you know? So
And I'm not trying to discourage or
would like if I said this now, would you agree or disagree? I sometimes think, now I'm not talking about all development squads, I'm saying like under 14, 16, 18, yes, up to I think it should be 21 for the girls. But I sometimes think that because now there's so many development squads, I actually think it's weakening our game. Is that fair to say? I actually genuinely think.
I'd agree with you in part. Yeah, definitely.
Well, it goes back to what Marion. It goes back to what Marion says there, because you could be carrying 40 or 45.
Martina, Killian.
Martina, sorry, why would I say Marion?
Come here, Marion's nice too.
Marion is lovely.
But apologies, Martina.
No, don't be you're all right, Tom.
But like you're carrying 45, 50 players.
Yeah.
You know, like
it's impossible.
What, you know, and parents
And
then have
having
a
to
certain
give them all game
expectation
time.
because they're bringing their little Mary or their little Tommy across to the field twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever is expectation. And why aren't they getting the game then? And but my issue also with development squads is that maybe then the people get notions, and I'm talking about management, because I've had development squads, let's say, pull the plug on lads playing their school's football or hurling or whatever.
Same in every country.
Drives me crazy.
That's nuts. Like, what do you think? You know, you're playing, let's say, for example, in my own school, we would be playing a Leinster provincial standard, Leinster standard, and you have a development squad then playing a challenge match the next day.
They're not allowed train.
What? Sorry, the standard of game that we're playing will ultimately help the development, but you want them to play a challenge match tomorrow.
It does drive you crack, doesn't it?
That's for a whole different.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started. But listen, if you were to, before we let you go, Croke Park.
You said that 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, but Croke Park.
Now
we've got the 4 in the semi-final. Croke Park. If you were to call it 2 people or 2 teams in Croke Park in August. Cork and.
Well,
you can't even say Cork. No, let him think.
Well, I'm saying Cork.
Okay, who are you saying? Who's your team?
I'm going with either Cork and Galway or Cork and Tip.
No, you have to say one.
Tip and Galway. Cork are going to, something's going to happen, and Tip and Galway are going to be in the All-Ireland.
Jesus.
I tell you.
Tip and Galway.
Cork and Galway.
Cork and Galway.
Yeah, well, it depends on the way the draw
No,
comes
there's no
about from the
depending now.
semi-finals.
No,
to the
yeah,
final. No.
actually, yes,
No.
right.
Cork are my winners. I don't think anything's going to stop Cork. Cork are
So
going to
it's
be there,
Cork and depends on the draw.
it depends on the drop. But look,
Tip or Galway.
I think it's going to be Galway.
Okay.
I think it'll be Galway. I just think Tip have this hang up now. They'll have to get it sorted out. They just, getting into Croke Park, I thought they had done win the league final. I thought they had it. Then
Yeah,
they
I
flipped
thought
the whole
this was
thing.
it now. They were going to push on.
But
They might, though. They might.
maybe, yeah. As I said, Dennis Kelly might be reminding me of this interview in a few weeks'
Oh,
time.
we'll
or
send it
so.
to you. We'll send it to you.
But listen to me, it's a pleasure as always, Killian.
Oh.
And this is the start.
We didn't solve anything, girls, anyway, but
we
there you go.
didn't, It's a conversation at the end of the
Well,
day.
Marion did.
Hey, you
Oh,
met a new friend,
Marion's
Marion.
making the tea there at the minute, isn't she?
Killian. Says, I've been called worse, believe me.
Okay.
Listen, as always, you've been brilliant in what you do.
Jesus, now stop. I'm not
Stop
sending
it,
another
Mark.
50
You
euro.
stop.
You see, I'm the only one that ever gives the compliments.
Listen,
on
don't
this
mind her.
pod.
Don't mind her.
No, seriously.
No, thanks a million.
No, really, really, we appreciate. Look, we're all busy, but one thing is we always make time. And at the end of the day, look, we love the game. We love talking.
That's it.
about the game.
Absolutely. And it's to
You
get
give
more
me blood
people
pressure
to
this
watch
week,
it.
but I'm okay about
Yeah,
that.
we're okay. Look, blood pressure or no blood pressure, it's good to talk. If we weren't talking about it, we'd be talking about something else.
Absolutely.
Listen, mind yourself, and we will
talk
catch
soon.
up again soon.
And
Thanks,
I'll
girls.
send you on the details for Tony Oak's gig.
Great job. Yeah, I'll give it a shout out.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Killian.
Thanks, girls.
God bless you.
See you
Mind
later.
yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
No,
Sure, he's wonderful.
Sure, he's great.
And like,
so knowledgeable of
Well, you
everything
see,
that's going
so
on.
knowledgeable, and he'll always give his
Honest
true
opinion.
predictions and
Yeah.
his honest opinion. But you look at, before we go, ATU and all the colleges.
Stop.
And listen, tell me about Benfica.
Oh, Benfica. Sure, that seems
I
like
know.
so long ago. Okay,
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, I have 30 seconds. So obviously, chosen to go as a kind of an ambassador, I suppose, for the
Yeah.
Camogie to go out to Benfica football club.
For those who don't know where Benfica is,
Well, I'm not really sure where it is
Oh,
myself.
Aoife, you
Portugal.
went.
But went out there to get ideas from the club,
Yeah.
professional club, and ways to bring back ideas on how to keep girls involved in sport or to keep participation rates up. And it was very, very interesting. The big thing I kind of got from that a lot of the time was their sponsors, that their sponsors give back. So it's not like, let's just say we get a pharmacy here, that the pharmacy actually, we'll say the players are working for the pharmacy or they're getting jobs out. So everyone's a winner.
It's a winner.
Do you know what I mean?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was
because
brilliant.
you were raving about it.
No, it was brilliant.
But you were even saying some of the training sessions, you could bring a lot of those sessions into your own.
And imagine there was what they call walk-in soccer. So it's a business out there. It's huge.
Out there is unreal.
But we thought there was an 8-year-old playing hurling, there was a 9-year-old, but we played walking soccer with them in the stadium Benfica there, and we taught them how to play hurling. It was lovely.
It's fantastic.
But anyway, what else are we coming up? We've come on to Croker with our Drahan under 12s on Monday. Cannot wait to see Shauna Fox and Shauna Savage and Liam Clancy and all the boys up there in Croke Park on Monday. And it's
a wonderful job as normal.
Phenomenal day out. They're so excited. And I suppose
the best of luck to the Galway under 16s.
Yeah, have you anyone to shout out?
And just shout out to St. Raphael's girls, Lauren Morgan and Ria Sestak, who were part of the panel. Ria's joint captain, and I'm sure you have a few.
Yeah, we have our local girl, Cara Giblin, Ciara Mullins from just up the road in Thomas's, and we have who else have we? We have Ciara Mahan from St. Coleman's as well, so that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and best of luck to those girls.
Oh, and don't forget the bees. We also have
and
Aoife Flannery and who else? I have Aoife Flannery and Aideen Fogarty as well. So best of luck to them.
And the best of luck to Brian Griffin and all his management. And I hope that you go on and go one step further than the under 16s last year and bring home the bacon. Badly needed silverware. And
up to you.
And up to you.
Damien, Molly and all the girls.
And to Liam, to Damien Corman, Liam Gordon, Molly Dunn and all the ATU girls. What a wonderful year we had. Myself and Aoife were blessed to be in with them.
Yeah.
And
fantastic. The Ashling Murphy Cup. It was
the Ashling Murphy Cup,
first
inaugural trophy to win. The Ashling Murphy Cup in memory of a wonderful, I suppose, young woman who tragically lost her life so early hurling, and it was lovely to be able to
And to
lift
honour,
that and
yeah.
to honour.
And Ava
And
lifted it. Ava Linsky lifted
Ava
it from
Linsky
our
lifted it
Up with
along
that.
with Kathy Fogarty
Kathy Fogarty from Offaly.
from Offaly, and it was fitting that Kathy and Ava lifted the cup. So hi to all the girls in ATU, and to Damien, and to Liam Gordon, and to Molly, and we will talk to you all again
For
soon.
sure. And we won't be as long the next time. We took an extended career break. We'll be back soon. And
look,
thanks a million.
it's great, and don't forget to subscribe to the Maroon and White Pod, and it's goodbye from me, my friend.
And goodbye from me.
And we'll see you all again soon. Take care.